So yeah, a month ago, you shared on the town hall very much your frustration with our customer support response time and availabilities. So I think we announced last town hall our intention to recruit more people to join our customer advocate team, with 2 people located in the Americas and 1 in the APAC region. We have received at this point in time 350 applications for the 2 US positions and 240 applicants for APAC positions, so Asia and Pacific. We have invited already quite a few candidates as part of a quick batch of about 11 candidates, if I'm counting right, to a first round video interview. That video interview is to help us save some time on our side. It's also here to make sure that we have a schedule that can accommodate basically every candidate. They can take their interviews several times over a few days. And we received a few of them, including one just before this annual started, and we're reviewing those together with the team. So basically trying to get some feedback, try to get some assessments based on that video interview, then inviting to the next stage, which would be an online test to check your experience on customer support. And then the final stage interview, we'll be meeting the team and basically probing you more on the culture fit. So I know some of you that joined us on the Clubhouse last time have already applied to this position. We were very positively surprised to see several customers applying for customer support position within our company. And we would love to make it happen. A lot of those candidates that have already been invited are already Hospitable users. And we'd love to have you join the very special group of Hospitable host employees, and joining Brian, Emily, and Ethan in Australia to be host and working with host on a day-to-day basis. So do note that it takes so I know that basically a lot of you are looking forward to having more, our team having more capacity. It will still take 3 weeks of intense onboarding on our side to get those new folks being productive and being autonomous, and still for about 80% of the question that basically our support team is tackling. It's a very technical job, and I want really to thank again the support team, of which several are here in the audience and on stage, for basically their resilience at a time when we don't have a lot of resources on a support team. And basically, I want to thank you, our customers, for being patient. We are prioritizing at this point in time tickets that have not been answered in a lot of time. So basically, we're able to work towards a turnaround time that's more like a day. And we're hoping to basically have more capacity so that we can offer more of a live chat experience. That's a lot to say. So we'll be welcoming your question on that as well. Second thing that I wanted to highlight, and then I'll be very happy to give the stage to Andrew for the updates that he wants to share. Obviously, everyone has heard a lot about artificial intelligence recently, ChatGPT and Bing Chat, and all the press coverage that's been going around it. So we've obviously been sharing in those channels that we've always been very curious about AI. And for example, ChatGPT was released just at the very same time as our Amsterdam retreat. And obviously we had a lot of conversation about how we can implement those features within our product. Started this week more conversation internally at our product team to improve our AI posture within our product. So we're going to work in the upcoming days and weeks to add more questions that we can understand in the conversations with your guest. So that gives you more ability to automate questions to some recurring questions that you are facing on a day-to-day basis. We're already working on the questions that are already been provided on feedback.hospitable.com. But if there is anything that is really close to your heart right now, we'd love to see it on chat so that we can also look into it a little bit more for questions that are going to be able to be recognized within our existing questions feature. There is also more features that we would believe will really be helpful, which is, for example, sentiment analysis. And that means really detecting the overall sentiment of a given guest message, so that when there is a message that's turning more negative, we could have a different experience that can be flagging the conversation on the inbox, and that can be alerting more stakeholders that have already been onboarded into our product. We also thought about, for example, adjusting the review automation so that when we detect a conversation that's turning a little bit on the sour side, and then we probably hold the review automation for that specific case, so that gives you more time to prepare a comment for them. Now, the good news is that we've also already are dedicating some time on this. So with our wizard engineer, Costin, we've been currently working on a lot of issues and bugs in the past few months. And just, he needed a bit of a break, a bit of a side project to work on something new. So he's going to look into building a GPT-3 integration as a proof of concept. The brief here is to allow Hospitable, and in particular their inbox, to prepare a draft for any message that you receive from a guest, so that you can ideally get a messaging experience that maybe just adjusting a few things. We'll be leveraging all the context that we already have on Hospitable based on your listings, based on the questions and the replies that you have automated, the messaging automation that you have configured for that particular property, so that we can ideally craft a message that's going to be really unique to that specific property and adapted also to the context of that given reservation. We worked a little bit on this, Andrew and I, and we were honestly, Sam and I, actually, and we're quite amazed by the result that we can have with very limited input. So yeah, there's going to be maybe something we're going to report on more AI into our product, hopefully sometime soon for the next town hall. Next, Andrew for some product updates. No pressure, Andrew.
Oh, this one's easy. I don't have to say anything awkward.
This one is easy, right? Yeah.
For months, we've been updating on the status of Direct and when it's coming, and finally, as of today, we got the last item unblocked, and I just got a random error warning from Club Deck. Great. If you can still hear me, yeah, we just got the keys to our production payment platform. If you were here in the last town hall, that was the last remaining thing that was preventing us from going live with Direct. We got that earlier today. So as we speak, we are deploying to the production environment. We are running some tests. We hope to be done with that tomorrow. So as long as everything checks out, which it should, we're going to start putting our initial pilot users onto the Direct production premium experience from tomorrow. So applause, applause, applause. We're all excited about that. It has been a long road getting here. So thank you so much for your patience. I know we've been talking about it for probably over a year at this point. So all of you guys that stuck around and our loyal Hospitable users, thank you so much. We hope to not disappoint you now. We've got a great premium experience. We talked a lot about that at the last town hall. I'm not going to cover that all again. If you do want to get into the weeds and kind of really understand how Direct Basic and Direct Premium are different, last town hall is a good one to listen to cover that. I'm just going to cover new information this week because I know a lot of you guys were probably there at the last town hall. So let's see. If you're not in the audience yet for the private pilot, you do that through Typeform. I'm going to share that URL again in the chat for this town hall. Go ahead and get on that list if you will. Tomorrow we're going to start picking off maybe a dozen people at a time. We will email you, we'll contact you. Your lucky number was called and you will now be in Direct Premium. It's all opt-in. Once we turn it on for you, nothing will change, nothing will break if you're already using our site builder. If you've already got, either the Direct Basic payment set up or you're doing manual booking requests, nothing will break when we do that for you. So you'll see an email. We're going to give you a nice big page of instructions, makes everything clear. You're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel confident turning that on, and you can go ahead and get started. So that is starting from tomorrow. We're super excited about that. We have internally set prices going forward. So that was something that we did not have in the previous town hall. So for Direct Premium, we're looking at the starting price for the first, 1 to 10 properties is going to be $5 per property per month. And then it's going to go down from there for people that have more than 10 properties. Direct Basic is going to start at $8 per property per month. And it's more expensive because on Direct Basic, you are bringing your own payment processing solution, and we're not covering your payment processing fees. So you have additional costs there. For Premium, we are charging a 6% plus $10 service fee to the guest on every transaction. So that's why Premium actually has a lower monthly cost per property than Basic. They're kind of different setups. And again, we talked quite a lot of the details about that in the previous town hall. But we're happy to take questions for anything that you guys are unclear of. But I think I will leave it there for now. And other things that we're doing with product. We went live with a calendar source update. Basically, we were getting a lot of feedback from support that people were confused about maybe why a date was blocked, why a price was what it is, where the minimum stay rule was coming from on their calendars, and they would reach out to support to figure that out. And we realized we could do better than that. And so what we did is we added that basically you can now see what the source of that the logic was that sets your availability, or your price, or your minimum stay rule. So that now becomes clear to you. Everything should be more transparent. You can kind of hover over that source and see the last time that value changed. Not the last time we synced. We're syncing on a regular rolling syncs, depending on if it's coming like through an API to your Price Labs or your Beyond account. You're going to be able to see the last time the actual value changed. So your price went from $100 a night to $120 a night. What would give you that time so you can have that context? You can kind of do your own investigation there on the calendar. We also did another update in this kind of similar vein to give you more transparency on your calendar. We now show booking requests on the calendar, and these are only going to be coming from Airbnb request to book and from direct request to book. These do block availability on your calendar. So when you have a pending request to book for that 24-hour period when that's pending, we are blocking your dates. So we realized that was probably, that was a good cue for us that we should be showing that on your calendar. So now you'll start seeing yellow blocks on your calendar, and that's what those are. Those are pending request to book. We do not show inquiries. Inquiries do not block your calendar. Therefore, we do not show those on the calendar. Let's see. And linking into reports, the inbox not loading at certain times. Okay. Let's see. What else do we cover? Otherwise, besides rolling out direct, getting the next few feature requests done for that, the team is working on metrics. I know we've talked about that in a previous town hall. We're very close to a developer-ready design. We're going to be giving you lots of important KPI now in the Hospitable metrics page. It looks really sharp. You're going to be able to, set your own filters. I want to see my last 30 days. I want to see this set of properties. You can save those views. We'll show you how you're doing trend-wise, whether it's an improvement, so plus 5% over the last period. It's really going to make it a lot easier for you to get a heads-up view of how you're performing. And again, with the filters and the saved views, those of you that are property managers, you're going to be able to quickly jump between your different customers and see exactly how they're performing as well. You're going to see what your RevPAR is, what your ADR is. All of that's going to be calculated for you. That is almost ready to go to dev. So we hope to have a nice update for you soon on that. And besides that, we're doing some support on projects that Pierre already covered as far as ChatGPT, getting back into Dialogflow and looking at some of the questions, improving those. So we're all excited about that on the product team to be looking at AI again. That should cover it. The big announcements direct. So, again, if you got that Typeform link, please get your name on there, and we'll start releasing, pilot users onto direct premium. You will not have to pay that monthly fee that I talked about. That will not be charged until, we're done with the private pilot experience. So you'll get minimum 2 weeks heads up to say, hey, if you've been enjoying that experience, we will start actually invoicing you. That direct premium transaction charge, that 6% plus $10, that will be a part, because all those services that covers are part of the private pilot experience. So you're going to be getting the auto host verification, the Superhog $5 million damage protection. All your payment processing fees are part of that service fee. That's all live from the beginning. So that will be there. But otherwise, I think I've talked enough. Let's throw it back to Pierre, and I think we're ready for Q&A.
Yay. So we have, thank you, Alyssa, for basically taking a note of all the questions that are happening on chat. That's really great. So to recap, yes, we are just, I think last panel we could already take your money, or a few days ago we could still take the money. Now we can actually pay you, which is obviously a very important feature in the direct booking website product in the way that we have envisioned it. I'm recapping. So 6% plus $10, that's on the guest side. That basically covers payment processing, auto-host verification, taxes calculation. In some jurisdiction, we are already looking at being able to remitting taxes ourselves. That includes, what else does it include? So guest verification, insurance, $5 million.
Yeah.
So basically you'll be able to have an experience as direct bookings without any of the risk, without any of the liabilities. If there is a chargeback, if there is a cancellation, you're not being out to dry. And that's basically our company taking the risk on a direct premium. If you're more experienced, then we recommend you testing maybe direct basic.
Yeah.
The thing though, and that's the thing that we kind of checked, is that we negotiated hard with every single one of those vendors to basically get a rate that's significantly cheaper. And so I think it's going to be a very huge challenge for any operator to find a direct booking experience that's going to be in any way cheaper for the value getting delivered. When you count that already Stripe will charge you 3%, and then you may add some kind of chargeback protection. You still have to go through the underwriting whenever there's something, because there will be something wrong anyway, and they need to adjust for it. Then the guest verification, the retail price is $8 for auto-host. It's about $8 as well for SuperHog and a $5 million insurance. So for large operators, do the math, and you will see that basically it's a very compelling offering. Yeah. All of that paid for by the guest, of course.
And it doesn't really compare to other platforms. I saw some comments in the chat saying that it's more expensive than Guesty. It's not directly comparable. I mean, we've had so many people that have used.
Guesty adds to the payment processing, whereas that's ours is included.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had people tell us that Guesty is 9x. If you spec the same product to product comparison for Guesty, it's 9 times as expensive to use Guesty. I think we're pretty confident that what we're offering is extremely competitive on the marketplace, price to price. If you're comparing the same product, there is a lot that's included in direct premium. I don't think there's anything really exactly comparable to what we're doing with direct premium. It's a hybrid of I guess what Airbnb offers at 17% of your booking cost, and a more kind of no frills option where none of the liability is taken, none of the payment processing is covered. So we're pretty comfortable and confident that the price we set is very fair for what's being provided.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Now we can start with the Q&A. So thank you, everyone. You can raise your hands, and we're gonna have John Ann on stage. The usual guest. Hello, John. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Pierre?
Doing great. Doing better than 2 weeks ago, for sure.
How's fatherhood?
Yeah, I mean, the fatherhood is fine. She's doing great.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, things are good. I'm excited that Direct is finally coming to fruition. So I just have a couple questions. For the premium, first, that's all those services are only for the direct booking, right? So you wouldn't get AutoHost and SuperHog, things like that for Airbnb, Booking.com, those channels, correct?
Right. Yeah, you can still use those. So it's kind of like we're the customer for AutoHost if you're using direct premium, and we're paying in a sense for the use of AutoHost with all of your direct bookings. If you already have an AutoHost account and you've connected that to Hospitable, that's not going to disrupt what you're doing there. So if you're using it for Airbnb, that's going to be with your account with AutoHost. Yeah.
Okay. And then the second part about both the premium and the basic. For the premium, I'm currently working with Boostly for my own direct site. Mm-hmm. Either the premium or the basic, how does that work together?
So you've got our booking widget, that calendar kind of component. That's the Hospitable component is on your Boostly site, correct?
I'm not 100% sure how that integration is right now, but I think it's more or less a widget at this point.
John, you're using the widget on your website. Yeah. I'll check it out.
Yeah. And so that's fine. Nothing is going to change for you in your implementation on your website. So if you're using the booking widget, you can do your own custom website. You just use our widget. If you're using our site builder, any of the 10 templates that we've done, it's going to work the same way. So when the guest kind of starts interacting with the calendar, they choose their dates and then they start that booking request flow. That's when it's going to jump into the like booking.hospitable.com. That's hosted on our side. And that's going to depend on the property scoping. So if your property is now scoped to, say, a direct premium payout, then they're going to go through the direct premium flow for that booking. If it's still scoped to your direct basic account, then it would continue to go through the direct basic flow that doesn't have auto host embedded in it, for example.
Okay. And there's a charge for the direct basic. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, when it comes out of pilot, that's going to be charged as well. So that's the one that starts at $8 per property per month, and then goes down from there depending on your scope, how many properties you have.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to understand, so I know how to get everything continuing to work smoothly. Thank you, guys.
So what are you considering then? Because now, I mean, obviously for now you've been using the direct basic for existing booking website, if I'm correct. So what do you think would be your choice moving forward? I mean, it's maybe all
put him on the spot here.
No.
Hey, he's putting us on the spot every other week, so it's fair.
I like to talk.
Shit. I'm button all over. Go ahead, John.
No, I do need to see what your newer templates look like. I have to say overall, the look and feel of the Boostly website has been really, very good for me.
Yeah, but you don't. Sorry, John. You don't need to change your website at all. Keep your Boostly website. There was a lot of work put by you and your team and Boostly to basically make it happen. The widget is still happening. The choice that you have really is basically what degree of services you want to have as a result, considering that you're also a native AutoHost customer.
Right.
I think so.
I actually think this like you mentioned, I'm already paying 3% to Stripe for every direct that's coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, my cost, the bottom line, will be something around 3% for a direct booking using the premium, which I could definitely, I would evaluate that. Is that your question?
What do you mean the bottom line will be 3%?
Well, since if I just stick with the direct basic, I'm still using my own Stripe, so then I have to pay. I have to pay 3% to Stripe every time I get a direct booking. So you charging 6%, essentially, at the end of the day, the customer's bottom line is what either books or doesn't book, and so it becomes a 3% charge for me, or 3% cost for me to use premium. And so that's pretty compelling, considering that you're taking on the liability and all that. So, when you initially announced premium, I was pretty sure that I was not going to, be switching to premium, but hearing all the details, it's something that I would explore.
Okay. Good feedback.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. I think, so yes, thank you. I can invite Nelly now on stage. And next one will be Gabriela. Nelly, I'm inviting you on stage. Going on once, twice, going thrice. I don't know if it's a problem on Club Deck. I'm gonna go ahead and invite. Okay, I think Gabriela has removed the question. Okay, I'm gonna invite Anthony. Now moving forward on stage with the next one. Hello, Anthony. Thank you very much for coming here on stage. How are you doing? Anthony, you can unmute yourself if you are on Clubhouse on the bottom right button. You did a really good
There
job
we
of
go.
muting yourself.
There we
Thank you
go.
very much, Anthony. How are you doing?
Thank you. Doing great. I failed to be able to figure out where the microphone mute was the last week during the Clubhouse meeting. But
how can we help you?
But great. I have a few questions. One of my wife and I own about 20 homes that we manage, and I was going to kind of give you the story of how we end up being forced in the situation to move to property management software. We book on both platforms, and then we would use iCal to integrate between the two for calendar management. And then we would, for our direct bookings, we would just manually block off the dates and then create our invoice in QuickBooks and manage everything that way. But it was always ended up being a nightmare because the cleaners and it didn't have a clue of where to go, and it created a lot of problems. But we rolled through that for a little while, and then Airbnb had a glitch and removed all of our block dates that we had for our direct bookings internally. And then we started having double bookings come on top of each other about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And at that moment in time, we knew we had to move over to PMS. So that's how we ended up getting over there with you. And it's worked out great. We've been very, very, very happy with your product, 100%. So we use Beyond Pricing, which is, I think, maybe a beta for you. And on the Beyond Pricing integration, normally we'll see and then now I see like a couple of dots, which I guess represents Hospitable. So my question is that the area, do I disregard the others, and do I run our pricing from the one that says Hospitable? Right there.
Yeah, Andrew, I'll put it up for you. I think that's a question for Beyond.
Okay.
The reason why I understand, I don't know if Andrew.
I kind of missed if you were looking at the Beyond backend at this moment, or you're looking at the Hospitable backend. So once you connect to a smart pricing, and I shouldn't say smart pricing, a dynamic pricing solution like Beyond or Price Labs, you should be editing your prices from that platform. That's now going to control the pricing.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you showed up as your own entry in there. So I mean,
showed up as own entry.
I will. So I will manipulate that, and then I'll
if this works anything like it does in Price Labs, then yes, you will want to manage the one that says Hospitable, because once you get connected to Beyond through us, then they're pulling that data through us. So you'd want to just manage it that way. Yeah.
So on the direct website, we're playing around with that. We created the direct website, and so I have people that call up and they'll ask if we have some availabilities for a certain date. And since we have 20 listings, it's kind of difficult to go through every single listing to see what we have for this particular date set. So on the new website, or is there a place that I'm missing that they can just turn around and put in on our direct website with you a specific set of dates, and then it will bring up the properties that we have available, so I don't have to kind of tell them to go through manually one after another, or we don't have to, and it becomes very easy.
Yeah, that is a feature request that we've gotten. It is not available today. We refer to that as multi-property search. And basically that was just waiting for us to get live, and then we're going to start looking at that. So it's a pretty complicated problem from just kind of our side on our, according to our backend technically, but it's something we absolutely have to have. So we are looking at that.
Okay. And I think you'd mentioned earlier you're going to start having reporting so we can kind of see a bird's eye of what we're booking in dollar amounts for months and stuff like that, I guess. I think that's what you were talking about earlier.
Right. So your only option right now is those metrics reports that you can, set up all your filters right, and then you can export to a CSV. and you can look at those figures. What we're doing is just improving the ability to basically pull out KPI over any range of dates and filters, so by properties, et cetera. And then you'll be able to see those, your occupancy rates, your RevPAR, your ADR, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make those a lot easier to check in on more often, more frequently than having to pull a CSV and look at those. But we're not killing the CSV exports either. And you've also got the webhooks option. Some people have done integrations with that data. So that's also something you could look at if that makes it easier for you to get those by webhook.
Okay, by what? Web?
Yeah, so if you want them sent to you, basically, you kind of want to automate those. As maybe I think people are using Zapier mainly to integrate those to different financial software they might use.
Right.
That's one option for you because you're kind of at a decent sized scale. You could explore that a bit more and look into that as a solution for you.
Okay. And I think my one last question is maybe I may answer it myself here is, when we're looking at the calendar across the board for all of our listings, and we see some dates with lines through them. Are those dates that are manually blocked off in like on a link platform, Airbnb or VRBO? Like if there's a
Yeah, so if you're seeing a block, that is one of the updates that we just pushed, and so you can select any date you're curious. Just select that on the calendar, and then in that right sidebar that pops up, you're now going to see the source if it was manually blocked or if that block came from VRBO or from Airbnb. We'll tell you that now. So I think you do have the tools now to investigate. And once you kind of figure out where your availability rules are coming from, you should be pretty quick about being able to assess the calendar a little bit more clearly for your setup.
And that's what we had to do when we had some block. We just went in and changed the blocks and then pulled up the direct booking and then entered it into your system. So other than that, everything's great. My cleaning staff have some questions, but I think they're going to wait till the next meeting so they can get it all together.
Very good. I'm glad you're able to get Clubhouse working for you this time.
Yep. Thank God. And it's very, very good. We really appreciate it. It's a great product.
Cheers. We appreciate the feedback.
I'm just going to jump in real quick. Anthony, if your cleaners come up with the questions before the next town hall, again, feel free to email me. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Vera at hospitable.com. So there you go.
That'll be fantastic. I know we're trying to set up a one-on-one. I maybe it's with you with somebody.
It is with me.
We will get that booked and get a lot of this knocked out. So I really appreciate it. It's such a great product. We have several people in Lakeland where we're located right between Central Florida that are friends that are using it. So we have a group of us that really, really like it. So.
Awesome. In that case, chat to you soon, as soon as you book.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and thank you, Vera. Lucky you're gonna have a meeting. I think I accidentally invited Jason on stage, but I think that's why you're here, Jason. I'm sorry I clicked the link. I probably shouldn't have because people have been raising their hand, and so I want to thank them for being a bit patient. But you did have plenty of questions on the chat that I thought were nonetheless still very interesting. If there is anything that basically you wanted to talk about regarding direct launch in particular, it would be, I think, very helpful to everyone.
Well, I felt special until you told me it was an accident.
Yeah, I know. I should really work on these basically social skills. Too bad. Join the list.
Well, let me ask one quick question, and then I'll let you get to the other people that raised their hands. But when it comes to the direct bookings, the fees, will there be some autonomy for hosts to kind of express them how they want to? Meaning, could we absorb them into our nightly rate? Could we label them how we want to? One of the benefits of direct bookings is that you get to say that, you're avoiding fees by doing this. So if we line item out too much, I fear that we'll just get backlash from guests, saying they're not really avoiding fees.
That's really good feedback. I don't think it's something we've really discussed. There are some complications around it, like our service fee has a different tax classification than a lodging fee does, but that potentially could be solved. I don't have a firm answer for you. I don't know, Pierre. What do you think?
that means charging the host instead of charging the guest, and that will be basically for a similar amount because it's basically real thin on it anyway.
It depends on where it lies, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think it's basically charging the host for the fee.
And I wouldn't be able to speak for all hosts on this, but if the fee is 6% and Airbnb is charging 13%, it could be a win-win for everybody, even if I, as a host, absorb the 6% but increase my daily rate through direct, the configurations that you already have by 6%, right? And then total price, the guest is still paying less, but they also see less line items on their invoice.
Yeah, I think the point on line item is always good. I think right now we went with, a relatively safe approach from Taxi's perspective because that's our liability. Okay. Yeah. But I think there is always, a choice that we may be able to offer down the road. I think you make a good point. The thing there though is you're also making a good point about the fact that guests will compare with other alternatives on where they can book your listings. And so that offers you an ability to either adjust to the same rate or maybe a slight discount, or basically just maximizing the discount that your guests will be having if they were booking on any other websites. And again, if you are okay taking the risk yourself and working on your own with building your own tech stack, could always opt for a direct basic choice where you have full control and full liability. But unfortunately, there is a thing where it goes both ways on that. It's either a choice or, anyway, control.
Well, awesome. Thank you. And keep up the good work. I'll let you get to those that raised their hand.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jason. Okay, we are going to have Gabriela back. So I'm going to invite you on stage. I hope this time works. If not, we'll be inviting Miro to join us on stage. And thank you, Jason. I'm moving you back to the audience. Hello, Gabriela. How are you doing? If you're looking to, you can unmute yourself. Fantastic. Hello, Gabriela. How are you doing?
Hi, good afternoon. Okay, I have a couple of questions. Regarding the direct, I've been talking with the Logify and the Guesty peoples. I'm kind of a visual person, so I was wondering if you have like a printout where I can see the fees that I'm going to have to pay if I go with the direct through you guys. I was waiting for you to launch the program before deciding going to anybody else. So if I can have that in writing so I can share with my team and make a decision which way to go, that would be helpful.
Okay. Gabriela, did you get your name on the list to do the pilot?
Yes, I did it today.
Okay, let me get in touch with you then.
Okay. The other question that I have is I work with PriceLab, and I don't have problems with Airbnb, but I do have problems with VRBO. Every time I have a reservation, I receive an email from you guys telling me that you have been having problems putting the blocks on the VRBO, but then I go to VRBO and the blocks are there. I don't know if it's because I'm setting this up in the wrong way that causes the problem, or is, I don't even know. I want just to have it clear. How do I sync the calendars? Should I do PriceLab with Hospitable and then Hospitable with VRBO and Airbnb? I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but maybe it's my fault and not yours that I'm receiving the emails about the problems blocking the days with the VRBO especially website.
Yeah, so obviously that's something that maybe you want to escalate with the support team, so that they can look into it. Now, we've been, there is a lot of conversation and question in the chat about VRBO in particular. It's a challenging integration to be maintaining from an engineering perspective. Sometimes we receive responses that everything is going fine when it's not so much. and sometimes we receive errors when actually everything is fine. So that basically has been the cause of a lot of work that we spent in recent months on basically trying to find out. Unfortunately, we're talking, Hospitable is a big machine talking to another big machine, and we cannot it's not like, working in a relationship when you have to read the mind of your partner. It has to be like the response that you get from the other machine is the one that you're going to have to go to trust. To be fair, the emails that you're receiving about, for example, a reservation sync that has failed, it's the message that we send very early in the process. So if we see one error, we send the emails, but we obviously keep retrying to block those dates. And so my idea is just, on the top of my mind, without any investigation resources, that is very likely the thing that happened, is that there was an error initially of any reason on the verbal side, and then later we're successful at blocking those dates. I apologize for the additional alert that creates for you, and definitely when you receive an email that you are exposed to risk of double bookings, I appreciate it. Basically something that you want to look at. At the same time, it's like a lot of features, there's a bit of a history, and we decided to up this way so that you can basically, if there is a failure, then you can take action on it. But
I just want to say one other thing on this.
Yeah, go ahead, Alyssa.
For you, Gabrielle, and it's be something just to check on, because it's something that can cause these, cause basically this exact issue that you're seeing with VRBO, is that when you have an iCal imported into your VRBO, if the iCal blocks those dates off first, and then we go to block it and it's already unavailable, it causes an error on our side. It's basically sending us an error saying we can't block those dates because they're already unavailable. And so that is why sometimes people get those reservation sync error emails, and then they go and they check and it's already blocked because it was blocked from the iCal instead.
Okay, so the way should be like blocking the iCal from Hospitable to VRBO and nothing else. I mean, no from Airbnb to VRBO all the way back and forth. Is that could be the problem?
Yes.
Okay, so I should like erase the Airbnb iCal from VRBO and just keep only the Hospitable?
Yes, I mean, we will push those anyway. If you want to have an iCal backup, it should definitely be the Hospitable iCal and not the Airbnb one.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try to figure it out if it's my mistake.
And please reach out to support as well, if you're having, if you still see these issues, and we can help you through it as well.
Okay. So, so are you guys going to send kind of a visual writing about the fees and all that for the direct, or is something that you're working on it?
Yeah, I'll reach out to you, Gabrielle. It's not public. It hasn't been publicized like on our website yet. But all that information is in the explainer that goes with the private pilot. So I will follow up with you after this, and everyone on that private pilot, for anyone else in the audience, we'll share those instructions with you so you can see that.
Okay. All right. Did I get it right that you're going to be paying the lodging taxes if we are U.S. based? Or
so
did I get that?
It works in a couple different modes because every jurisdiction is different. What we are doing for direct premium is we work with a company called Valera. That's part of that. Again, that 6% fee covers those charges. And we do all the tax calculation at minimum. And so we collect that and we pass through by default from the beginning.
Okay.
And then as we go forward, based on where we are legally allowed to as the marketplace, as the merchant of record, we will be able to start actually remitting and filing in jurisdictions where, we have enough hosts for it to make business sense and where that jurisdiction allows us to file. So that will be kind of an ongoing improvement to the capabilities of direct going forward. But from the very beginning, direct premium will automatically calculate the correct tax for you, collect it, and then pass it through you for you to remit and file.
Oh, I see. So at the end, I'm going to have to, because I used to work with Valera when I began doing the hosting. And then since Airbnb is taking care of all that, and later on VRBO, that at the beginning wasn't, like now is doing it. So I completely leave Avalara. But if I'm going to go direct through with you guys, I'm going to have to get the Avalara service for the payment, for remitting the taxes for me.
If you want to use them for remitting and filing, you can. We are using them for the calculation and collection. So we would deliver basically all of the accounting for you. But you would be responsible for filing, at least from the beginning. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want more work that I have right now. So
I
need somebody to do that for me.
Yeah. It's probably the most complicated part about operating direct. And it's just something where you can't really start from day one, because you need to have this complicated concept called Nexus to be able to file for people. And as a marketplace, we're in a little bit different point. And it's just something that's going to be improving little by little over time as we start taking on more and more jurisdictions where we're able to file.
Okay.
Where are your properties? Just for curiosity's sake? Miami. Okay.
Florida. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We'll look into that, and hopefully we have good news for you.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And then just to touch back on VRBO a little bit, because I know a lot of you had mentioned that, there are kind of two things that could be happening if you're getting an email from us saying that dates are blocked, and then you go on VRBO, that we couldn't block dates, and then you go on VRBO and they are blocked. First is just make sure you don't have any other software connected to VRBO. If you do, VRBO doesn't actually let us interact with the calendar. They're going to look to your other software to do that. If you don't have any other software,
have Price Labs connected for the pricing. That's all.
Okay, yeah, that should be fine. That was just a general statement for others, so that's fine. And if you don't have any other software, or if it's just something like Price Labs, you're getting an email from us, you go check and it actually is blocked. I know Alyssa mentioned earlier that we sometimes send the email. We stopped doing that actually a few weeks ago because we realized that if an iCal had already blocked it and we weren't able to, there's no reason for us to alert you to that. We know it's blocked. So we actually stopped sending those emails. So that's good. But if you are seeing that they're blocked, you don't have an iCal, our reservation sync, when we first go to block it, if we get a failure immediately, we will tell you. We don't want to risk a double booking, so we'll immediately tell you, but we will still try and block it a couple times a day. So it's very possible that the first attempt failed, we sent you an email, and then our subsequent attempts worked. We'd rather overly alert you to that just to make sure that you don't get a double booking than don't alert you and actually have another guest book.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's just the wealth of knowledge that you can get when you reach out to support. So thank you very much, Jenn and Alyssa, for bringing those up. And thank you, Gabriela, for raising the question, because I think that was impactful to a lot of other users on the chat. As promised, I'm going to invite Miro now on stage, and the next one will be Jordan. Miro, hello, good day to you. How are you doing? And you can unmute yourself on the button on the bottom right. Trying to do my best here. And that's working.
Okay.
That's working.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. How are you doing, Miro?
Okay. I'm doing good, thank you. How about you?
Doing fine.
Okay. First time here, so I'll try to be brief as I can. I'd like to clarify some direct booking, like fees, integration, insurance, and tax. You said about 6% fees. I'm paying currently, I'm using Stripe and currently paying 3%. So it's going to be 6% plus 3%, or it's going to be your Stripe, you're going to pay for it and go to my account.
So you have two options. Our direct basic option does allow you to bring your own Stripe account, and then your fees wouldn't change besides the monthly per property fee that we would charge you for the software. But you would cover your own payment processing fees with Stripe. We talked mainly about direct premium tonight, and that's the one where we're referencing that 6% plus $10 of a transaction. And that is what covers the payment processing fees on the transaction. It covers your chargeback liability. It covers the guest vetting that happens. So every reservation that goes through direct premium includes the auto host verification. That's it's less expensive than you could get it on your own to go directly to AutoHost. It includes a $5 million damage policy. All those things are included in that 6% plus $10 fee that is charged to the guest. And so your payout would be whatever you designate your payout for, and we wouldn't take any part of that fee from you for that.
You mentioned AutoHost. How about SuperHog?
Yep, that includes the $5 million damage protection is what we do through SuperHog, and that's included in that 6% plus $10 fee. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. I think that's just about cover it. So, okay, that sounds good. Regarding tax, I'm from British Columbia, Canada, and it's about 16% in particularly city of Vancouver. So you have city tax, regional tax, provincial tax, government tax. So they all add up to 16%. And can we add up that tax manually? Or you mentioned some system, Valera or something, that calculates the tax. I'm just worried, what if they don't calculate tax correctly?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and something that I did a better job explaining, I think, in the previous town hall, that the direct premium offering initially is only available for U.S. properties because the taxes are so complicated. And that's why we work through a third party, like Valera for that. For Canada, that's probably one of our next markets to go to, but it depends on vendor support and depends on the tax situation. So it's something that we don't have a firm answer for now. I know we've talked with a lot of hosts in Australia that are trying to convince us the tax situation there is very simple. So Australia is pretty high up on our list. But for Canada, your options for now are direct basic. And that allows you to add your own taxes manually. So you would need to be familiar with what the tax situation is for your properties in the U.S. It can change. The opposite side of the street could be a different tax jurisdiction in the U.S. It's quite complicated. But for direct basic, we rely on you to collect your own taxes. And so you could add different line items for each tax that Canada requires you to collect. Those would be passed through to you and reported in your taxes export. And you would be responsible for remitting and filing those taxes on your own. But they would be part of that booking flow for direct basic. And then when direct premium comes, we would only come when we have a solution that absolutely calculates the tax 100% correctly based on your properties.
So if I understand correctly, I will be able to, in direct basic, add line items, tax, anything additional, any additional cost. I'll be able to add it. Okay, that's fantastic news. Okay, and that's all I have right at the moment.
Okay, make sure you get your name on the type form, and we'll have you picked out as a direct basic pilot based on your location of properties, and we'll try and get you into direct basic as quickly as possible, and we'll share with you the instructions that have like the full breakdown on prices and everything, so that can be abundantly clear.
I will use it right away. I think I submitted that form, so I'm hoping I'll join that tomorrow or whatever. Yes.
Yep. Very good. Thank you, Miro.
That's fantastic. Thanks.
Yep. Great.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Miro. We're going to have Jordan. I think that's the one I mentioned. Yes. Thank you, Miro. Great questions. I'm moving you back to the audience, and I'm going to invite Jordan. Next will be Scott, if Jordan is okay. We got both of them. You would think I would know how to click links, but you're both here. So Jordan and Scott, welcome. So we're gonna get Jordan first and Scott later, unless you want to interrupt. Jordan, or can we help you today?
How you guys doing? So I had that problem with the Verbo thing as well, where they email you right off the bat saying they can't block it, blah, blah, blah. It turns out it is blocked. From my understanding, and this is just a quick aside to what I'm going to ask, but from my understanding, you guys tried 5 times to block it. Yeah. And usually the first one fails and then you end up blocking it on the second, third, whatever. I would just recommend maybe you only send that email on the 5th one because, it's kind of annoying, but, but that's an aside. I'm not going to tell you how to, develop your own product.
We kind of discussed that internally, so with Jenn and Alyssa in particular, and it seems that basically, I mean, especially for the one from iCal, it's basically expected to have been stopped already from January 27th, so that whenever there is an iCal, we should not be sending those emails. So that should be, if that's the case, and there is an iCal blocked, I don't know, do you have an iCal on your Verbo
No, I
property?
don't.
None at all.
It happens
So
to me
that's not
anyway.
it.
Yeah.
So that's not it. No, that's fine. I mean, otherwise it would be qualified as a bug. If you have an iCal and that basically triggers that email, then that's a bug because we no longer expect an iCal block to be triggering that kind of an email.
Right.
So
well,
yeah,
anyway.
Jordan, have you escalated that to support?
Yeah, I have. They didn't,
okay.
It was one of those, hey, we'll look into it type things.
Costin is the one looking into everything right now. So
right. But anyway, that's not why I'm up here. Okay. I just wanted to throw that in there. For direct, I'm not going to ask you about the fees because I'm assuming you'll email. I am asking about a pixel. So it would be really helpful to get a tracking pixel on the direct booking site itself, so I can run Facebook ads and do retargeting campaigns, stuff like that. I don't know if you've considered it, if you've had plans. I know you've had your hands full, so it's probably not on the top of your mind, but it will be something that I think would be super helpful down the road, especially with all the stuff going on with Airbnb and people thinking that bookings are going down and people need to get more creative and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a nice shout. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think as you alluded, everything is about getting launched first, and then I think we're going to be doing some various improvements. I've seen a lot of questions about rental agreements. We're going to be looking at that, looking at multi-property search, and then we kind of move into a phase of, okay, let's help you really accelerate distribution and sales and help you drive. And we've talked about like Google Vacation Rentals previously. That's part of that. But the tracking pixel is new feedback for us, so I am taking notes.
Great. And
Jordan,
then...
just sorry to get you off, but
yeah.
I think Ben is actually implemented that feature in an earlier part of the product. There was already, I think, a field to insert some JavaScript in free text to basically make it happen. We removed that because there was not particularly a lot of demand on it, but Ben can provide some feedback on this. Right?
Yeah.
Do I have a good memory?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
It wasn't so much about the demand. There was a technical challenge we had with it. So it is something we heard before. So you could drop in your own sort of JavaScript, your own, Google Analytics tag if you want, or whatever it is that you use. It should be making a comeback for sure at some point. As Andrew mentioned, it's not top of the list right now, but it is something we want to do. As well as at some point as well, as Andrew mentioned, once we've launched, getting some analytics actually on the site itself. So when you go into direct under Hospitable and you open a site, you can kind of see how many views, how many bookings and things you've had as well. So that's on our list.
Great. And then lastly, operations. So I haven't really gotten a chance to dive in until the past couple weeks. Operations seems like it's pretty ripe for an overhaul. I don't know if it's on your roadmap or whatever, but I would say, simple things like if I wanted to do a weekly recurring take out the trash, I'd have to list that under maintenance. And when I do that, I'm not able to see exactly what the task is when I go to operations and overview, or even in the task calendar. It only says your listing. So mine's called Lake House in Laconia. It says Lake House in Laconia 0840, and then the next one is 0841, 0842, so on. So it seems like the title of the task should be there, or some way to know what task you're doing should be there. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that would be, or if you have any clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was gonna be Jordan, I don't. I guess you're looking at the overview when you go just to operations, what you see on that main kind of dashboard there.
Yeah. So to really break it down, right? So I'll use my case. So I wanted to set something to take out the trash every Tuesday for my cleaner, on top of the cleaning tasks. So I went to task rules. I clicked recurring, which is under maintenance, and then once I do that, first of all, I get 89 or 99 notifications on the operations tab, which seems a little crazy. But then when you go to overview, the task says your listing title.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah. Then maintenance, and then it's okay, in 6 days, whatever. But
got it,
there's no way to know what the task is without. There's really no way to know what it is at all. I tried a few workarounds and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, so it's a task created based on the task's name itself, just automatically gets generated. I believe it's based on the listing name, and then I think some random numbers potentially. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I think overall we would love to overhaul the operations. Speaking from support, I would. It's definitely the part of the product we get the most questions and confusion on. So I'd love to see that happen. It's probably not next on the list, but yes.
Me too as well. Jordan, are you the one that recorded the video on operations?
Yeah, and I didn't really get a straight answer besides that. One of the things that I asked, it looked like a bug, and then the second thing, it's like, oh, we'll put it in the features request. But in order to be able to use this without having to use an iCal or whatever, you would have to be able to have at least the title of the task. Otherwise, all the cleaning schedule, it's all great to have, but if you wanted to schedule a weekly, a monthly, change the air filters, you couldn't do that. There's no way to know what that task is.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah, I think we don't always use the task name that comes from the rule, because you can manually create tasks as well. But I've seen that video. I feel your pain. We can definitely do better than that, for sure. Yeah, I think like Jenn said, it's not top of the list at the moment, but there might be something we can do really quickly to kind of tactically improve that.
I'll that would be the quick Band-Aid fix would be to not generate those names, and then it's functional. It's not ideal, but it's functional.
I've made it clear to the last product meeting what my views were about operations. They were pretty radical. Emily, you wanted to say something on stage?
Hey, Jordan.
You're laughing.
I know. I'm just laughing because operations is a huge topic internally. We all want to fix it or kill it. And so, long story short, yeah, I shared your video with the team and we all cringed. It is difficult to use. We totally hear you on that. And so, while we've said it's not top of the list, it's definitely not bottom of the list either. And it's something we're thinking about every day. So, really good idea with just changing how we generate the names as kind of a Band-Aid to get it functional for now, but do know that we are going to fix that longer term or do something that will ease the pain there, because we know it's definitely difficult to use in its current state.
Yeah. Great. And on that something, I will have a meeting about that something tomorrow, and normally we'll be able to have a little bit of a perk for every single Hospitable user that has a bit of a complex workflow to manage their internal teams. So stay tuned. Maybe it's going to be an email in the meantime before the next town hall, but there's going to be something new on this.
Great. Thank you guys. I really appreciate your time. So for clarity, do you think that Band-Aid fix is possible, or is it a little more complicated on the back end than I would think?
I think the problem is around the resources, considering that, with Threadstein, you have, I see the chat, every other line, there is basically a new feature request.
Right.
We're launching a new bold product. I think we have to be realistic into what we can do. But
fair enough.
But what I'm thinking is maybe able to alleviate your problem without you having any cost on this for the short term.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for that, Jordan. And I'm not familiar with the video myself, and what solution you offered. Emily did look into that with the rest of our product team. Great. But thank you, Jordan, for your questions. I'm going to move you back to the audience, and I'm going to we can turn to Scott. And I'm sorry, because I know some of you have been raising your hand for quite some time. Unfortunately, at this point, this town will need to end. So Scott will be the last one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So sorry for everyone. That's been.
I'll try to be brief. I'll second what Jordan said around operations. I've kind of given up on them.
We know.
In certain respects.
We know.
But don't get rid of them, please, because we do use them.
No, we don't. No, yeah, that's that's a challenge.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a couple questions about Direct. So if I stay with Direct Basic, which I'm currently on, is there any feature improvements that are coming to Direct Basic along with Direct Premium as those feature sets roll out? Things like coupon codes, discounts, those types of things, change in availability search, or those types of things. Any updates there with that?
There will be. It depends on what the feature is. We're not deprecating that direct basic in any way whatsoever. That is probably the best solution for some people, and definitely outside of the U.S. That is, the only solution we can offer right now.
Right.
So that isn't a second tier product from our point of view. And we have been focused more on features for direct premium of late because we needed to get that out the door. But a lot of our roadmap is going to have stuff that's going to be shared for both tiers. So yeah, there will be updates coming. Coupons is something that has been requested.
So is that in direct premium?
I don't have a firm decision on what that feature exactly looks like when it rolls out. We're not trying to restrict things like coupons that don't have a cost to us. The idea with premium is that there's a lot of features that have a cost to us to provide those services. And that's why those are kind of paywalled behind direct premium. A coupon code is not something that costs us any money.
Right.
So that's that. I can't imagine that would be something we'd restrict, but I don't have a firm decision on that.
And that's part of the things that are paywalled behind direct premium. Will there be the opportunity to integrate our own account with SuperHog, our own auto host with basic?
Yeah.
Because what I'm faced with, we have some higher end properties. And so, adding that extra 3% on top of the stripe, where you said those cost you about $8 for insurance and $8 per SuperHog, that's well and fine. But if then your cut then goes to like $600 for a booking, that doesn't seem to scale proportionally to the cost of providing that service. So that's one of my concerns with premium. And then one of my other questions is I've noticed recently the names or the URLs for direct websites for the individual properties that are get generated from the website when it's created are based off of the Airbnb listing title. And if those Airbnb listing titles change, those URLs change.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate bug, and that is top of the list. That it almost got solved today. It's going to be solved, if not this week, next week.
Yeah, because
that doesn't make any sense.
We are in a huge push right now to get all of these. We've been piloting direct for a very long time and only had a few direct bookings because we haven't been pushing it. But we're entering in our busy season come March 1. And we want to make sure that we have in every single one of our units a way to link directly to that unit and our website as well.
That link should not change.
Right, exactly.
Understood. And just quickly on your other points, I know we're trying to wrap up here. But what does scale on the cost of an expensive listing is the liability for that from the merchant of record point of view, as far as a chargeback, as far as a bad experience where we might be liable for a refund or a reverse payment processing fee on a refund. There are certain liabilities that do scale that you would maybe aren't part of a normal transaction but have to be recognized as liabilities for us, and so there is some scale to that. But we don't have a plan to really block you from bringing your own solution. So there's not a solution today for you to, have AutoHost or SuperHog on your own for direct basic that's embedded in the flow. Right. You can probably achieve some of those things on your own. But I think we can make that easier going forward as well. We have, I think, quite a lot of plans especially with AutoHost to make that a more dovetailed experience within the product. And that would include, I believe, direct basic, at some point as well to help you with that.
And I know we got to quit, but you mentioned liability and dealing with bad guests. So if we do have a problem with a guest and we're booked direct through you guys and you're paying merchant of record and everything like that, do they contact you? And then we get into a situation like we are with Airbnb with bad reviews or getting dropped, those types of things. How does that work?
There is an element of that. I think at the high level, we're trying to be much more focused on host, whereas Airbnb is focused on guests.
Yes.
There are situations where we might have to intervene in extraordinary circumstances and maybe offer a refund and perhaps, tell you're not suited for direct premium if we have to take liability for multiple issues.
Right.
And you'd be a better direct basic customer. That can happen. But in general, we are host first with direct, and so we're trying to take a different tack than Airbnb there.
Yeah, the thing I want to add is very much the idea is that you have complete ownership of the guest. We'll be able through AutoHost to show you their ID. You'll be able to have the list of guests that are staying at the moment when you are presented with a request to book. And we have already, as a merchant of record, accepted whenever we send you a request to book, that means we have accepted to take the risk of the payment processing, to take the risk of any liability about that. Our insurance partners have also accepted the risk of hosting those guests. So that should result in a positive experience overall, where all risk of fraud, for example, would have been vetted already. The thing I want to say, yeah, obviously you are our customer, okay? The hosts are our customers. The guests basically are a way for us to be able to dedicate more resources on the development of Direct, and basically be having a relatively innovative product offering, where you're not just, out in the weeds naked, taking all the risk that you can, taking all the risk in case something goes wrong. It's basically finding a way to make it reasonable and, safe experience for everyone as a guest. If we are doing a refund to the guest, it's really out of our own pocket, and then basically there can be something for you later. But again, that's something that basically was more on the legal side of things. You would be the one ensuring the support with your guest directly. So you are owning the relationship with guests. You also mentioned dropping. Obviously, it's your direct booking website still. So it's not like, there's going to be an algorithm that we can retaliate. We won't be able to retaliate against you declining or refusing to a reservation or request to book. So you can take those decisions completely freely in that regard. So we do the work to basically present you with as much information on your guest. But if you wish to decline it, no sanction. We get it. It's fine. You can proceed with canceling the request to book at no cost to you and at no cost to the guest as well.
When we get contacted to be part of this, will we be offered a demo of the flow? Because there's a lot. There's
a lot.
You are opening the floodgates for me with questions on how we process our business and things like that.
Yeah, we've started sharing some of that, I think, on like our social channels on Instagram, etc. You can watch me go through the new booking flow there. And then, we've got a very nice one pager that's going to go out for everyone that's on that Typeform list. And we've got lots of animated GIFs there working through all the flows. It should be very clear to you. And if not, we'll see you in 2 weeks at the next town hall.
Yeah, we can have plenty of events to basically keep talking about Direct. Most importantly, now we're going to be able to show it to you. So that's going to be a very, very sweet release for everyone in the team that's been working for months to make that happen. So as promised, we're basically closing this tunnel now. Thank you very much for all your questions. And you're going to stay in the loop. We're going to keep you in the loop with all updates related to the Direct booking launch. So please, again, go and look for that survey that we've been sharing with you in the chat for the past hour and a half. So Andrew, what's to be expected for the people that we select to basically move forward on the private pilot so that you can have it one last time?
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and once we're set on the instructions, we're going to go ahead and contact everyone so you can get because I don't think we've published our pricing anywhere else yet. So I know a lot of you guys have questions on just the basics, even if you don't make it into the private pilot tomorrow. So I'll try and contact you guys in the next day or two, everyone. So you have access to that information. And then the plan is to just keep rolling people into the pilot until, we find any issues that we need to solve, and we might just close the tap a little bit. But over the next few weeks, we're just going to keep rolling people in from that Typeform. So please be patient. I'll try and contact you guys occasionally throughout that pilot so you can get updates on what's happening and really have all the information you need to make the decision. And again, if you're on basic now, you can try out premium. You can move back to basic. There's no danger there. Everything is opt-in. We're not going to break anything when we put you into the pilot.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for answering all the questions about Direct. That there will be more in your future. Thank you to everyone on the team. Thank you for everyone that had appeared on stage. And my apologies really to Cartul and Derek. Sorry, Derek. But basically we're stopping this tunnel now. thank you very much. See you later. You will receive a lot more updates about what we've been talking about, hopefully in the product and otherwise in newsletters. See you in 2 weeks. And we're going to try maybe something new. So not necessarily having that on Clubhouse. You will receive plenty of instructions about it if that were to change. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day and good evening from Brussels.